Okay, so if you've ever been to Japan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see it everywhere. A beautiful, serene Buddhist temple, and then right down the street, a really vibrant Shinto shrine. You might even see people visiting both, sometimes on the same day. So how does that work? Well, today, we're going to demystify this amazing and totally unique spiritual landscape.
Right. This is the central puzzle that gets so many visitors scratching their heads. How can two different religions live together so peacefully, sometimes within the very same family? From a typical Western viewpoint where you usually pick just one, it can feel like a huge contradiction. But it's not. It's actually this beautiful, elegant system, and we're about to figure out exactly how it works.
The simplest way to get it is this. Shinto and Buddhism aren't really in competition with each other because they handle totally different parts of life. Just think of it like this. Shinto is all about celebrating the here and now, life, birth, nature, all the good stuff. Buddhism, on the other hand, deals with the really big questions about the afterlife, salvation, and how we confront suffering. This whole division of roles is pretty much the spiritual backbone of Japan.
So, with that big idea in mind, let's get practical. Think of this next part as your personal field guide for spotting the difference when you're out in the wild. I promise, with just a few simple clues, you'll be able to tell a shrine from a temple in like seconds. First up, the entrance. Honestly, this is the easiest giveaway. A Shinto shrine is always marked by that simple, iconic torii gate. It's like a symbolic doorway between our world and the sacred space where the kami live. A Buddhist temple, though, usually has a much more massive Sanmon gate. It's this big, ornate structure you actually walk through. And hey, look closely at the sides. You'll often spot two super fierce-looking Neo statues guarding the entrance, protecting the Buddhist teachings.
All right, next, just watch how people pray. The rituals are completely different. At a Shinto shrine, the whole routine is 2 deep bows, then 2 sharp claps, pon. That's to get the kami's attention, and then you do 1 final bow. But, and this is super important, you never clap at a Buddhist temple. It's actually considered really rude. Over there, you just bow and join your hands silently in a prayer position called gassho. Seriously, knowing this one little difference is a total game changer.
And finally, let's look at the core idea behind each one. Shinto is all about purity. Things like death and disease are seen as a type of impurity, or kegare. And that's exactly why you find a water basin at every single shrine entrance. You physically purify yourself before you go in. Buddhism, on the flip side, directly tackles the tough realities of human suffering. Birth, sickness, aging, and death. This perfectly explains why funerals in Japan are almost always Buddhist ceremonies. See how they fit together?
Okay, so we've seen the how, but the why is where it gets even more fascinating. Let's peel back another layer and really look at the philosophy that drives all these different practices.
In Shinto, there isn't just one god. Nope, there's what's known as Yayo Rozu no Kami, which translates to the 8 million gods. Now, this isn't a literal number, of course. It's a much more poetic way of saying that the gods, or kami, are absolutely infinite. They're everywhere.
So this means Shinto isn't just polytheistic, it's also deeply animistic. The kami aren't some distant gods up in the sky. They are spirits that live in the natural world all around us. That majestic mountain, an ancient river, a weirdly shaped rock, heck, even the stove in your kitchen, they can all house a kami. In Shinto, the natural world is sacred.
Buddhism, on the other hand, it presents a very clear path. It starts with this fundamental recognition that life involves suffering. The whole goal is to escape this cycle of suffering by following the teachings of the Buddha, which are written down in scriptures called sutras. And the ultimate goal? To achieve satori, or enlightenment, a state of total spiritual awakening and freedom.
This chart really lays it all out, side by side. Shinto is Japan's indigenous belief system. It literally grew right out of the land itself. It has no single founder, no one big holy book. Buddhism, though, was imported. It has a clear founder, the Buddha, and these extensive scriptures called sutras. They're just fundamentally different systems that somehow, magically, found a perfect way to work together.
All right, let's switch gears from theory to practice. How can you actually use all this? Well, this section is designed especially for anyone doing a language exchange. We're going to give you some fantastic questions to spark a way deeper conversation with your Japanese friends or language partners.
This is a fantastic opener. I mean, in Japan, mixing Shinto and Buddhist practices is completely normal. But in a lot of cultures, you're kind of expected to follow just one faith, right? Asking this question invites your partner to think about their own culture, and it just creates a really interesting comparison. This question connects right to that Shinto idea of animism we talked about. Almost every culture has places in nature that just feel special or powerful, whether it's a huge national park or a local legend about one specific tree. This is such a wonderful way to find some common ground and share stories about the places you both love.
So, since we've learned that Japan often uses Shinto for births and weddings, and then Buddhism for funerals, this is a perfect question to ask. How does your partner's culture handle those same big life moments? This can lead to a really rich discussion about traditions, family, and what different cultures consider sacred.
Of course, to have these awesome conversations, you're gonna need the right words. So, in this final section, let's cover some essential vocabulary that will help you talk about these topics with way more confidence. Time to build up that word bank.
First things first, the absolute basics. In English, we make a clear distinction. A Shinto place of worship is a shrine, and in Japanese, that's a jinja. A Buddhist place of worship is a temple, or otera in Japanese. Just using the right word is the first big step to avoiding any confusion.
Okay, this is a powerful word, kyosei, or coexistence. It perfectly describes that harmonious relationship between Shinto and Buddhism. Being able to use this phrase, man, it just shows a much deeper understanding of Japanese culture that goes way beyond the surface level.
When you're describing the bowing and clapping at a shrine, or that silent prayer at a temple, the word you're looking for is ritual, or gishiki. You could say something like, I learned the ritual for praying at a shrine. It's just a really useful word for describing these specific actions.
And for Buddhism, you absolutely have to know Satori, or enlightenment. Now, this isn't just about book smarts. It's about a profound spiritual awakening. It's the whole point of the Buddhist path. It's a core idea that really separates it from Shinto.
If there is one single phrase that perfectly sums up everything we've talked about today, it's this common saying. A baby's first big outing is to a Shinto shrine to celebrate new life. But funerals? Those are handled by Buddhist temples to guide the soul to the afterlife. It just beautifully captures the complementary roles they play throughout a person's entire life. So there you have it. You're now equipped with more than just facts. You've got the context, the vocabulary, and the right questions to really explore one of the most fascinating parts of Japanese spirituality. You basically have the keys to unlock a much, much deeper conversation. So go start a great one. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.